What is going on there, agents? How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Pone. I am your host, and today we're going to be talking about the changes, the overall changes to the weapons, shotguns, LMGs, so on and so forth, how it's going to be working when Underground hits the scene in 1.3, and the unique family talents that are coming to the guns, and why I think it's a very, very bad idea for this to be coming into the game as a whole. So let's just get started with the basic information. Now, as you've probably heard, the other types of weapons that have not been blessed by unique abilities are now about to have favors of their own. The SMGs have had crit hit chance so far. The marksman rifles have had crazy numbers in headshot bonus. So now the rest of them are getting a little love too. The SMGs are actually changing from crit hit chance to crit hit damage. A lot of people look at this as a nerf, and I really don't think it's a nerf. You're just going to have to work on your build a little bit more. If anything, it may even potentially lead to a buff because it's like 50% crit hit damage. It's pretty substantial. Now, the LMGs are going to do around 25% extra damage to targets out of cover. I think it can go up to 30%. Obviously, all of this is subject to change, and some of it definitely will by time it does launch. But either way, this is huge. It's going to force people into cover. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how this changes the Dark Zone and, of course, PvE experiences. The ARs. Now, this is interesting because they do enemy armor damage, and I think it's in the low to mid 20%, which is cool. It's like having an additional destructive talent built straight into the ARs. Actually, it's more efficient than the destructive talent. It's even stronger, but this is cool because it's rumored, actually, I think it's been confirmed, that they are working on trying to implement armor penetration in the ARs for PvP against players as well. So this is something that's supposed to come in the future. As for marksman rifles, they're just completely unchanged, untouched altogether. The shotguns, they are earning a stagger ability. And it's around the 200% range, which is basically the ability to make the NPCs flinch. How many times have you shot at an NPC when he's like winding up for a grenade toss and all of a sudden you hit him and you make him stumble and he drops the nade and he's like, oh darn. That's kind of what's going to happen, but you're going to be able to inflict this stagger effect so frequently that you're going to just keep people from fighting back, and it's going to be really useful. Again, it's only useful in PvE. They did mention they are trying to get this implemented for PvP, but they have yet to find the right mechanic to do this. And they're also getting a 30% damage buff to the base damage of the shotgun. This may not seem like much, but for an 870 or something, this could be 15 to 17,000 extra damage on top in DPS. So if your 870 right now is at 80, 90k, put on 15,000 more, and that is huge. That's going to mean a lot in PvP, so it's going to change the way the game is played. I think shotguns are going to be really popular in 1.3. Now, the part that's really got me a little mixed up, there are supposed to be weapon family talents, and I don't like this at all, because I can't see this working. These, from what I understand, are going to be assigned set talents, kind of unique talents that are exclusive for that weapon family, which means they're mandatory. They're default on that type of gun, so every G36 is going to have that same talent on it. Every PP19 is going to have the same talent on it, and this is going to create a lot of confusion and a lot of problems, in my honest opinion. So let's just talk about how this is going to work out. We're going to use the PP, for example. Now, what's so interesting, I'm so immature. What's so interesting about this is it's like a reload talent. So you're going to have two regular talents influenced by RNG, which you're going to pray for like a responsive and brutal or something, right? And this third one's going to be a reload influenced one. From what I've heard, I believe you can roll these unique talents off. So with the new weapon recalibration that's coming in, at least if they are really bad talents on a gun, we can roll them off, but that means we only have one of them to roll off. So that's the one that we get a freebie for. Normally when you have a gun, there's 3 talents influenced by RNG, but these new guns only have 2, which means you have less opportunities to get 2 of the really nice ones you want. So let's take the perfect dream roll for an SMG. Brutal, deadly, responsive, right? So normally, if that was to roll on my gun, if I got brutal, meticulous, and deadly, all I really need is responsive. So then I would just take meticulous off in that second slot. But right now, you only got 2 opportunities. So unless you get a brutal responsive or a brutal deadly or something on that brand new PP, that's basically it. It's game over. You know that talent's terrible, so that's the one that you have to recalibrate off. So if those first 2 aren't the ones you're looking for, then you're screwed. The G36 is a perfect example. Its talent is almost useless. I would seriously use that word to describe it. It seems like it'll never come into effect at all, which means that's the one that always has to be recalibrated off the weapon. It's going to be like a mandatory thing, so you're not going to see a lot of G36. And that's sad. That's disgusting. As much as I want to try out the G36 and the PP19, those talents are going to deter me from doing that. I mean, it's far less likely for me to get 2 of the really nice talents that I want in 2 slots instead of 3. That's really just kind of shafting the whole process. They're supposed to be encouraging people trying new types of weapons, deter them from sticking to the meta, the same 1 or 2 guns, and they're creating these unique set mandatory talents that either are going to be a hit and are still extremely unlikely to outweigh some of the really good talents like Brutal, Deadly, and Destructive and things like that. So I highly doubt they're going to be that good. And even if they are that good, to rival that or even be better, that means people are going to choose those as the favorites. Those are going to be the ones that become the new meta. And that's still a dangerous thing because they're wanting to spread variety. But if these unique talents are better than something like Brutal or Deadly or as good, then those are going to be the ones that people go for anyways, and the rest of them are just going to be background noise and just not be used at all. So you see why I'm kind of concerned about where they're going with this, why I think these are very bad options to have. Now, if they were given as a free talent, like a 4th free talent or something, I'd be okay with it. But that doesn't seem like that's the way they're going to go. So let me know what you guys think down below. Is this good for the game or bad for the game? I personally vote no. But leave your comment down below. I'm curious to see how you guys feel. Stay tuned, subscribe, guys, and stay moist.